Hi, Everything Dinosaur here. Now, some of you are probably aware that CollectA have recently announced that they'll be introducing in 2025 a 1:20 scale model of a giant short-faced bear, Arctodus simus. Now, we've been very lucky because CollectA have sent us some exclusive images of this new figure. So, let's take a closer look. And without any further ado, let's jump in. Here are the exclusive images that CollectA have provided Everything Dinosaur. Our thanks to CollectA for sending us these wonderful pictures of their Arctodus simus model. Now, let's take a closer look at the muzzle of that giant short-faced bear. So here is a close-up view of the head of the CollectA 1:20 scale Arctodus simus model. Now, I know these animals are referred to as short-faced bears, but that term is a misnomer. However, based on the look of the head of this figure, CollectA do seem to have taken great care over getting the skull shape accurate. I like the domed forehead and the rather large nose. Its closest living relative, the spectacle bear of South America, has a very powerful sense of smell, and it's suspected that the giant short-faced bear also had a powerful sense of smell too. If you look closely at the eyes, they tend to be positioned on the side of the head. Well, that's an accurate representation of Arctodus simus. And I like the large canines, but they are blunted somewhat, typical of an animal who eats lots of vegetation, and the teeth are quite worn. In this view, we can see the domed, sloping forehead. And the incisors, along with the canines, they do show signs of wear, as expected of a large omnivore such as the giant short-faced bear. And those eyes are correctly positioned towards the side of the head. And in this view, we can see that the right ear's been torn, perhaps in a fight with another giant short-faced bear. This view allows us to see that the model has got a relatively short tail, and we can see that the front limbs are longer than the hind limbs. That's true of most bears, typical bear anatomy. I'm intrigued by the coloration that CollectA has chosen. It's kind of a mottled, burnished grey colour in the main, although I will mention that white bib and the flashes on the face shortly. I guess they couldn't make it brown. They've already got a brown bear model. Indeed, black would have been difficult because CollectA, I think, have got a black bear model too. So they've gone for a kind of different coloration for this prehistoric bear to perhaps differentiate it from the other extant bear models that they have in their range. CollectA are to be congratulated. After all, they've managed to produce a model of a giant short-faced bear that's rearing up onto its hind legs. No stability issues here, I think. Let's take a closer view of that bib and the markings on the face of this animal. I guess the markings on the face and around the muzzle are reflecting those of the spectacle bear, which is the closest living relative of the giant short-faced bear. In fact, the spectacle bear is the only surviving member of the once extensive and speciose and diverse Tremarctinae subfamily of bears. And like many spectacle bears, our Arctodus simus has been given a white bib, a flash of colour on his chest. And I suspect that's a nod from CollectA with regards to how this animal may have behaved. Predominantly an omnivore, eating mostly vegetation, but as an omnivore it would have consumed flesh. and being the best part of 900 kilos in weight and perhaps standing as high as 3.4 meters tall, this guy would rock up to a kill made by maybe saber-tooths or wolves or some other predator, and it would rear up and frighten off the other carnivores from the carcass by intimidating them. And that bright white flash on its chest and around its mouth, that would be quite a visual signal to other carnivores to basically back off. And being white coloured, it would be effective against nocturnal hunters as well as animals that were primarily diurnal. So being a white, flashy, bib type coloration, it does make a bit of sense to me, and I congratulate CollectA on their thought and care when it comes to coloration. One thing I do want to point out, which is seen quite clearly on the left paw of the model, if you look closely, there's a pad separate from the main paw pad on the right hand side of the paw as we look. That marks the position of the enlarged wrist bone, the sesamoid, and that acted like a false thumb, helping the animal to grasp the branches of trees and twigs and things like that. That sesamoid and the false thumb is seen in the closest living relative of Arctodus simus, that's Tremarctos ornatus, the spectacle bear of South America. And on the other side of the paw, there's a kind of like a thickened area of pad. Again, that's also seen in the paws of the spectacle bear. Again, that slightly thickened pad may have had a role in helping to grasp plant material as this animal fed. And obviously, as with all bears, all members of the Ursidae, the claws of this model, they're non-retractable. So all in all, this is an intriguing CollectA Deluxe figure. It's got lots of little details which I really appreciate. And I know that CollectA have listened very carefully to the requests from model collectors and fans of prehistoric mammals who've been after a giant short-faced bear model for some time. And I love the little touches that CollectA seem to do for most of their models. That torn right ear, for example, which we can see, but isn't actually shown on the official CollectA image that was released with the press information when this model was launched. Our thanks to CollectA for sending us these exclusive images. So, that's our look at the new for 2025 CollectA 1:20 scale Arctodus simus model, the giant short-faced bear. Now we think this figure is going to be in stock at Everything Dinosaur sometime in the early part of 2025, perhaps around the spring. I suggest that you keep an eye out on Everything Dinosaur's social media, such as our Facebook and Instagram pages, so you can be kept up to date with these model introductions. I will post a link in the video description to the CollectA Deluxe range that's currently in stock at Everything Dinosaur. I'll also add a link to the CollectA Age of Dinosaurs popular range, so you can peruse these two excellent figure ranges and perhaps pick up a model or two. Well, on that note, I'll say I hope you've enjoyed this quick sneak peek of the new CollectA Deluxe Arctodus simus figure. I hope you found this video informative and helpful. And one more thing. Thank you